Hello, welcome back. Wanted to post something about what I experienced after I published my previous video on blood tests. I guess since I had been talking about anxiety, my subconscious said, well, you must want to experience that because you were talking about it. And not very long after I put that video up, I got that feeling of that dark cloud coming down over me. Um, I had to go do something shortly thereafter to help somebody with something, and so I spent, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes just sort of just kind of breathing with things and seeing if I could kind of get my mind in a good spot so that I could go out and be useful. Um, and so basically what I did, I just kind of sat back and I closed my eyes and I just kind of scanned my body to see what was going on. And in that particular case, I had a lot of tension in my forehead and around my eyes and at the base of my skull too, which started to feel like it was going to become an unpleasant tension headache. And I just kind of noticed how it felt, and I gave it permission to relax, even though they didn't do that. None of those spots did that immediately. Another thing I do, I kind of imagine as I breathe out that I'm like sort of breathing through the tense area, breathing into it, breathing out. And as I exhale, I kind of imagine the tension flowing out with it. And that has been very helpful at times. And in this case, it was. I also worked my way down to, like, I always have tension in my stomach, like around my waist. And I found a little bit there and I gave it permission to relax, and it did. And just by going through that exercise, it probably took me 5 to 10 minutes. I found that I was calmer and that I wasn't carrying so much tension. And the feeling was still there, but I found here's the first really interesting thing that I noticed, and I've heard from other sources, or maybe I read it or whatever, but that helping other people actually increases our own happiness. And since I got busy doing something for someone else, I guess part of it was just being distracted, so that like I wasn't just sitting with the feeling, although that was useful. Uh, Sitting with it in a certain way is definitely useful. Stewing in it is maybe not the best thing because we tend to amplify it or feed it and keep it going. That's not really the goal there. But being aware of it, shining that light of awareness on it and letting it evaporate, that's useful. You got to be very non-judgmental though, and willing to accept that it may not leave. That's probably the hardest part. Just accepting this could suck for a while. Um, but being out and just doing something for someone else, it was a pleasant experience. While I was driving people somewhere, and while I was driving them, I was busy concentrating on traffic, listening to their conversation. All of that was a nice diversion from just worrying about stuff. So that was helpful. Now on the flip side, of course, the very next day I went to help some other people with something, and an unforeseen complication came up. And here's the funny thing, sometimes you're kind of in denial, I think, which is one of my favorite places to be because then I don't experience my emotions. But yeah, you can tell when you're sort of suppressing something because even the most trivial thing can sort of be the gateway to letting those emotions out. And so, yeah, yeah. I mean, at the time, I was fussing with this thing that wasn't working, and I was like, okay, let's see if I can figure it out. And finally, I figured out what was wrong, but there was no solution for it. So that was kind of a frustrating thing, and then I just sort of had to accept, okay, not gonna happen. Um, but later on in the day, it kind of I noticed I couldn't let go of it, and that was my key or my clue that yeah, maybe this isn't just about the little thing. It's like there's no use crying over spilt milk. Well, maybe sometimes there is, because maybe it's not about the spilt milk, right? Maybe there's something else that's been bugging you, but you've been kind of pushing it back and pushing it back, and this one thing just is the catalyst for opening the gate, and then all of a sudden the emotions come out, and you're like, why am I so upset about something so trivial? And it's like, well, it's not about that. It's about this other thing that I've been ignoring. And so, yeah, the feeling came back, and then it took me a while to let it go. It did. It did. I had to kind of just accept that it was going to be there, and there's a particular point it reaches where it's really uncomfortable. Maybe not even necessarily physically, maybe a little bit. So there wasn't really a point of tension in my body to kind of focus on. It was just like this just uncomfortable feelings, like, I don't want to deal with this. And then I just kind of had to accept that that was going to linger for a while, and it was a little tough, but then eventually I just kind of found my way through it to the other side, and it's not like it just disappeared, though, because this morning I went to get my blood test, the one I've been worried about. And I was going to make a video before I got the results, but they were quick, so I've already got the results. And I was thinking it would either be really bad or really good, and it was neither one of those. It was like right in the middle. It was pretty much right back where the numbers were in December. And that was confusing because I thought I'd been doing well. I've been exercising a lot and trying to eat better, and it didn't seem like that really had much effect on the numbers. I'm only looking at a couple of things. There's like the lymphocyte count and the absolute neutrophil count. And the neutrophil, I mean, it's in the green, but it's at the very low end of the green. So I was kind of like, don't know how I feel about that. Lymphocytes were actually a little better than last December, but not greatly improved. So I'm going to have to kind of do a little more research and try to figure out what do I need to do to improve those. And I got an appointment with the hematologist next Tuesday, so in a week, and it's one of the questions I'm going to ask. So it's funny how these things work with sometimes it's not like a light switch that you could just turn on and off, the stress related to some of these things, and we just work through them the best we can. That's why there's like all these different tools that I try to use, because they don't all work universally, right? It's like sometimes it's better to do one thing, sometimes it's better to do another. Going for a walk is a great thing to do because you're burning energy, so all that nervous energy that comes up is getting worked out through the movement of your feet. And talking to other people helps, and just working through things. Yoga, I go to the gym, I work out hard, I get my heart rate up, and try to get stronger, and I do feel better after that because I wore myself out. Like yesterday I was just toast after I got back from the gym. I was just like sitting on the couch like, I'm so tired. That helped, but it didn't really change the numbers, and I've been working out pretty hard for a couple of months now, like since the end of January, maybe even before that. I've been walking and doing other things, but weights and things I've been being more deliberate about getting in there. But yeah, different tools. If you try something and it doesn't work, don't beat yourself up over it. Think of something else. Try a different approach to it. And sometimes you just kind of have to just make your way through it the best you can. Anyway, now I have to focus on learning my songs for the piano recital, my next source of stress. Well, I don't know, maybe my next source of stress is my doctor appointment next week, although I'm going to be busy between now and then trying to think of good questions to ask, because I need a strategy for making sure that I stay at least marginally in the good range on my numbers, but I'm not sure how much control I have over that, as this past couple of months has shown me. So anyway, I'll post more videos as things move along, and maybe they'll improve, maybe they won't. Maybe if I need treatment, I can talk about what I do to manage that as well. So anyway, thanks for joining, and I hope you have a good rest of your week or day or whatever you're watching this video, and we'll see you next time.